Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here, Smart Business Moves. We have On the Spot Thursday. Got our, I guess, host for the week, RJ Patel, filling in for Liz. Hey, RJ, how are you today?
Hey, Tom, I'm great, thanks.
Hey, and our secret guest, if you guys hadn't figured it out already, is Matt Rickets. Hi, Matt. How are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me, Tom. Glad to be here.
This is it's been a while since you've been on here. A couple weeks, few weeks.
Yeah, I think I did. I shared a video for you for the what was that deal day? 3 weeks.
2 weeks ago yesterday, the first deal day.
But yeah, I haven't been on in a few weeks. So yeah, lots changed.
Are you out on the road in the RV now, or are you back home?
We're back home, getting ready for school, navigating like a lot of lose-lose scenarios for sending our kids back to school. So it's this week we're just shopping homes in different school districts this week. I'm dead serious, like looking at the best school districts in St. Louis and seeing what they're doing, and just deciding to stay the course. And I was sharing with you guys, my kids go to private school, and we're kind of the opposite boat. We actually want a good online program for our kids. And our school is going back full in person, and their online option is like a live stream all day. They've got to sit there with their classmates. And so we're trying to negotiate that nightmare, because I don't want my kids sitting in front of a screen all day, because I can't stand to do 3 Zoom meetings a day, and I can't imagine that for them.
That can't be well thought out. I mean, there's too much of a body of work out there. Certainly the experts would there's got to be studies saying that's a really bad idea. It has to be.
I would agree. So so St. Louis Public Schools, which is the district I'm in the city of St. Louis, and they're typically not known for being really like forward thinkers. They actually went ahead and just leased a really good online program that's like a homeschool program that's like highly accredited. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at doing that with our kids, and then we really do want our kids to have a Catholic education. So having them, do online for like the religious studies and maybe some of the literature, maybe a couple classes at the school. But I can't have them sit all day in front of a screen. I just can't. I can't do that to my kids. So we do have the choice to go back. We personally aren't going to send them back. We have a 96-year-old grandmother that we still spend a lot of time with. My kids were there yesterday. They're doing arts and crafts at her house. They're pickling. They're doing kind of old-fashioned stuff over there. And then I've got an 82-year-old father-in-law, so he's probably high risk too. So I don't want to. I want to take a more measured approach and just kind of wait and see. I feel like the Catholic schools are serving a niche, though. I was telling you guys, there's a waiting list to get into our kids' school. Like it's a very popular school anyway, but right now there's a lot of families that are in a position where they need to get their kids to school. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are feeling that pressure. We're all getting back. A lot of us are younger. So I'm on the younger side of the spectrum of this conversation today, but I'd still be like an oldie in this business compared to a lot of you that are probably listening, as my kid likes to call me an oldie. My 9-year-old likes to say that. Right, exactly. So, a lot of you guys are in different places with your kids, but I know that's gonna be something that is gonna affect us all here in the next few months. Is how do we navigate some employee issues with school? How do we navigate our own personal issues with this school stuff? So that's a little bit of an interesting topic that we can maybe push off to the future. And then other thing that's on my mind has been the PPP the new CARES Act that I don't know what it's called. The new proposals that came up.
There was a bill that was passed by the House back in May. I think
the HEROES Act, but that's DOA. I would think.
Actually, I think the Senate is going to be digging that out on Monday and stripping it down.
Okay.
And they're going to be putting it. I mean, it's going to be a very narrow focus, but they're scrambling because the $600 a week unemployment kicker is going away, and there's nothing to replace it. And part of the Senate just says, well, fine, we don't, just don't worry about it at all. Most of the Senate wants to do something, but they can't agree on what. So the strategy is they're going to take the HEROES Act and recarve it and put it back out there and basically challenge, the Democrats not to vote for it. So
I think they'll have to if there's some good provisions. And I mean, I think we've all been waiting to see what's going to happen when this unemployment ends. It's a double-edged sword for the economy. It's like, well, people will go back to work if there are jobs, but a lot of the jobs that are out there are jobs like ours or other entry-level service jobs. And maybe the people, I mean, I hired someone last week that was formerly making $65,000 a year. She lasted a few weeks and then somebody cherry-picked her off. So I don't know if hiring people like that is best practice. Like if someone has all that kind of talent and skill, eventually someone's going to pick them up. So I took a chance on her, and I knew that it was probably, well, I personally didn't do it, but my manager did. We talked about it. And I think it's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of talent out there, but some of that talent isn't probably ready to come work and clean homes for a living, even if you are paying, above board wages and things like that. One of the things that I do think is kind of exciting is they're talking about a second round of PPP. My business in St. Louis, we shut down for 6 weeks while we kind of retooled and reworked. And, that was a tough time, but, the PPP got us through it. Wow. But those businesses that are on the East Coast that were shut down longer, there's going to be a second round of PPP. And a lot of businesses that were hurt pretty badly are going to be probably able to benefit from that again. So really kind of keep an eye on the news about what's going on with a second round of PPP, and if your business is going to qualify, because that could really allow you to do some great things. You could probably increase wages to be more competitive. You could probably offer benefits that you've never been able to offer before, and really increase your cash reserves to be able to do those things. So I know probably some of that is going to include raising prices, but it may be what we have to do to be competitive in the future, to get talent and to look at that. So if your business qualifies for that, I would definitely keep an eye on that. And then so
the criteria for that is if your revenue for second quarter this year is 50% or less of what it was second quarter 19, then the thinking is you automatically qualify for the second round if it becomes law.
Right. Yeah. They're going to streamline the process, and they're going to do away with a lot of the provisions for forgiveness is what they're talking about. They're just going to basically make forgiveness automatic. And then, and they were going to do that for under 150,000, but they're talking about even raising that number. And the thought process is that they'll just audit businesses that have kind of, you have to keep the records for X number of years after this. And it's going to be auditable. But they're just not going to have the manpower the banks aren't even going to have the manpower to go through this and do this. The banks have been pushing back pretty hard on that. So
it's kind of like filing your income tax. It's really on the honor system, and they might go back and check you, but for the most part, they're not going to be looking. Right. It's physically impossible. Marlo says it's the HEALS Act. Does that sound familiar?
I don't know if it is the HEALS Act. There's probably a million acronyms out there. I haven't heard that. HEAL has a negative connotation, so maybe that's it.
It's got multiple connotations. If you're healed and economically sick, real quick, just a couple of statistics. The unemployment numbers that come out every Thursday, and they were a couple of weeks there. It was over 6 million, which these are just dwarf, going all the way back to like World War II type numbers, but it's still over 1 million, and actually ticked back up the last 2 weeks. So that's not good. And this is really interesting. Quarterly, the federal government announces changes in gross domestic product, and quarter over quarter, it was down 9%. Annualized, using whatever formula they use, it's a 32% drop. This chart goes all the way back to like 1882. The next highest drops were here like during the Great Depression, but 32% is the lowest or the worst ever one quarter drop going back to whenever they started tracking this in the 1800s.
They'll be talking about this 100 years from now. This is that significant. That is incredible.
You mean they'll be paying for it 100 years from now?
Perhaps.
A lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Guys, we want to do on the spot today. If you have questions, go ahead and be dropping them in the comments, and we'll jump right on it. As always with on the spot, once we start going through the questions, we each get 1 minute to answer. When we run out of questions, and if we, are at the top of the hour, we quit whenever we get to the top of the hour, or we run out of questions, whichever one comes first. Oh, okay. So Marlo dropped us a link here for the HEALS Act.
I had one more question for RJ before we get started, because I don't think we can all answer it. Was just what ARCSI is doing. I know that are you still pretty heavily involved with ARCSI? Like John had put out a link about some tax credits for cleaning, and if you knew anything about that and wanted to share anything with us about that, or are you familiar at all?
No, I did look at the legislative information that was sent out, but it's not, it's not been crystallized yet. So I think I would rather wait until it comes out, and our legislators give us the right answers.
Okay, so it's not a law yet. It's still in proposals, basically, or it's still being written. Okay.
Yeah. But it was something that was put out there for our industry. Yeah. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that plays out. If businesses have tax credits and they can increase their cleaning budgets, I mean, I have companies that would probably, just utilize that towards what they already do. But there's some places that are underutilizing cleaning and things like that. They don't put enough effort into it or enough budget into it to really get the results they want. So if that could help, it'll just be a matter of whether we can hire people or not. If we can find talent, that's another.
We got to find different ways. Yeah,
we do.
Yep,
we do. All right. Well, Tom, what you say?
We're
short on questions.
For questions here. I'll recycle some questions. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. We can do our own questions, but when it comes up a lot is what type of pay system do you use?
Who wants to go? Is it you go first or I go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm going to go ahead and
we go by the screen, and then the next question you go first. The third question I go first.
Okay.
So
I'm doing Liz's job.
You are. So you have to criticize me for not running the clock right and giving myself more time than I deserve.
Yes. And she prepped me well.
You guys ready to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. We pay based on commission, a percentage of the revenue generated off of each home. We do that primarily because we feel that it gives us a better way of controlling our cost of goods sold, or that metric that we talk about, payroll to revenue. It creates some challenges in terms of managing quality, making sure that people aren't moving too fast. But we feel that we have pretty good controls in that area, in the way that we capture the start and stop times for every job, and we're able to create pretty good accountability to make sure that the teams are at least meeting the scope of work between that and quality scores. Again, we just appreciate the ability of knowing that our payroll to revenue is going to be fairly constant week to week.
All right.
You ready, Matt?
Ready, yeah. So I probably use the most complex system of anybody here. I use something called Job Share, and we might have to have a whole nother show just on it. But basically what we do is we guarantee everyone's hourly rate so that they know that no matter what, they make their hourly. So somewhere between $12 and $14 an hour for all of my employees. And then we also track their commission rate simultaneously, like Tom does. And what we do is, on a spreadsheet, after we pull that information out of Made Central, we compare the difference between the two, and usually it's a positive number, right? And that positive number goes on their check as a discretionary bonus that we call job share. And so they earn the same kind of money that Tom does. It helps us control our costs very consistently with our payroll, but it makes it more of a reward and something we can control if there are issues with quality, other things that we can withhold that money because it is a bonus.
Cool. Good answer. Yeah, we could probably do a whole nother hour on the intricacies of that pay plan.
Yeah.
You ready, RJ?
Yep. So Matt, you touched on it. What's most important to people and to you as a company? Turnover, reducing turnover, quality. Those probably are the two top expectations we have from our people. And of course, attendance. So having looked at all that, and this is our 18th year in business, so what we decided to do about 2 years ago is start paying everybody starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. They get the same wage until the very last house they finish. So they work through lunch, they get the same thing, and it has really helped on all three levels, actually. Attendance, we're still working on, but the quality and retention has been excellent.
People have it's more predictable what their pay is going to be week in, week out, doing it that way.
Yep.
Awesome. Leslie's got a question for us here. And this is, you're going to be first up this time, Matt.
Okay.
And this is timely. She needs to replace her HR person. We only have 20 employees, so it's not a huge thing. How do you train your HR person to make sure they have the basic skills and understanding of the law? I have looked online and haven't found much training.
Okay, this is very timely.
You ready to go, Matt?
Yeah. So, hi, Leslie. This is a very hurt moment for me. I lost my HR person of 9 years this week. She put in her 2 weeks on Monday. So I'm in the same boat as you. I trained her from the ground up. I sent her to HR seminars. But it turns out I had someone really in a position that they didn't like HR. I mean, it's a pretty tedious kind of work. Me and Tom have talked about this in some detail. I don't know that I have all the answers on this. In the past, what I've done is I built that person over time, and I have a pretty good foundation of HR myself. And then I lean on my payroll provider, Paycor, for things that I don't know, and I lean on my labor attorney for things that I really don't know. So it's a complex issue, and I'm going to be in the process of rebuilding right there with you right now. So I'm still trying to solve it myself.
You might be able to put together a peer group on HR manager development.
Yeah, really.
You ready, RJ?
Yep. Yeah, Leslie, a complex thing. And hi. So what we've done is a dear friend of mine used to work for a corporation in the HR role. So I reached out to her, and she is actually training one of my staff in the office on how to do all that HR stuff. And like Matt said, I have an attorney. When I did have him write out all the law, all the non-competes, everything that actually are enforceable in the state of Georgia. So from a onboarding standpoint, he did all that for us. But when it comes to future hires, she's going to be very instrumental in helping my staff, who's going to do all the hiring.
So the takeaway is we need friends who know how to do HR.
And just some background on this, Leslie. Me and Tom had an hour call on this exact subject 2 days ago. Just for background for you, because we're trying to solve the world's problems like for ourselves.
Yeah, you threw us a softball, Leslie. As far as resources, if you have a business, employment practices policy, the kind that indemnify you against wrongful termination, EEOC stuff, harassment and whatnot, they typically come with a fairly robust online resource of just, good HR practices. An organization that we belong to that has training and certification programs for HR is SHRM, Society of Human Resources Management. I put their website there. They have a lot of online resources too that are really good. I think it's really important to have a labor attorney, and that's different than people that do contracts. We have one, and we probably hit them up on a monthly basis.
And the kind of insurance Tom is talking about, just for reference, is called EPLI, Employment Practices and Labor Insurance of some kind, something along that line. But EPLI is usually the acronym that you'd want to look for, and you probably have some small amount of it built into your plan. But I always suggest looking at a standalone plan with higher limits.
And it's the kind of thing that when you're small, you look at it and you say, it's an expense I don't want to take on, and you certainly don't have to have it. Mm-hmm. There have been several times over the years that having that insurance very well may have made the difference between us staying in business and not staying in business. I think once you start getting up to the point when you feel like you've got something to lose, you really need that insurance.
I'm being sued by two different people right now for accident, for work comp stuff, and stuff that that is gonna, if it gets past the work comp insurance company, that I know that my EPLI company will step in. So it's peace of mind. That's all insurance is.
Yeah. So let's see. We've got some questions here.
And Matt, to your point, for someone to hold this position of HR, you're right. They need to be well versed, and they have to love it, because it's not a pretty job.
No, it's not. I basically ground my girl through to the hilt in 9 years of it, and she's more of like an artist type, and she was in the wrong role. So you got to get the right person in the right role. It's
sure.
Ground her. What was that? You ground her.
Ground her to the hilt, just like she just.
And Heather's here now. So this TLC guy, you hear that? I mean, we were talking before we went online, Heather, and Matt was flattered that you.
Yeah, me and Tom have similar business styles, so not too dissimilar sometimes, but yeah. I guess Sarah had a question.
You're up now, RJ. You're going first, and Sarah wants to know, what are you using your idle money for, or did you choose to return it, assuming you got an idle loan? You ready?
Yeah, that one's going to be simple. Yeah, Sarah, this is going to be simple. We don't, so there you go.
You never got one?
Did you never apply for it, or you decided not?
Correct. We have not.
All right.
Did you apply for PPP?
Yes.
Okay. You ready, Matt? No, wait a minute.
You.
I'm next. I don't know what we're doing with it at the moment. I guess it's just kind of sitting in the bank. Don't have any intent to give it back anytime soon. It's a low interest loan, amortized over 30 years. We're just waiting for the dust to settle. We haven't really done anything with it yet. Ready, Matt?
Yep. Same as Tom. Here's my thoughts on it. I am going to put it into my general funds, my operating account this week, and spend it so that as I spend it down, the money that I have that comes in from operations becomes unrestricted money. So I'm going to actually spend it on payroll so that all the cash that I have becomes unrestricted. 30-year loan at 3% is pretty unbelievable. And so if I can make those funds be unrestricted at that time, the payment is, less than a car payment. And it'll give us some freedom to make some business moves, some smart business moves in the next few months once we have created that as unrestricted funds.
Sweet. It's kind of interesting because there are restrictions on how you can use it, but with a 30-year AM, you just wonder at what point would they ever go back? I mean, how are they going to know?
You're not supposed to use it on capital investments and things like that. But if you used it for payroll, I mean, then that was a legitimate use.
Fungible, right?
Right. Yeah. It's just going into my payroll account. It's just going to be used to draw down against payroll, and then if some other business opportunities come along, there was a restaurant that I almost bought during this COVID-19 shutdown, and I'm really glad that I didn't, because it's very dysfunctional. I'm watching the new owners, and I'm friends with them, deal with the dysfunction of this place. So, there's business opportunities, and then there's smart business opportunities. That would not have been the smartest thing I've ever done.
Smart business moves and not so smart business moves. That would be a whole nother show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Heather's got a question for us. She wants to know, do we use sprayers or foggers for residential cleaning? And if so, what are your policies and procedures and pricing? I'm up first this time.
Mm-hmm.
Selectively, we have had foggers for a while, before COVID, actually. We've done some specialty work with it. We did a rather big job a couple months ago for like a Ronald McDonald House, and they wanted us just to fog, and we did that. And we used aqueous ozone as the sanitizer for that. We recently have purchased some Victory electrostatic sprayers, and we're getting geared up to be able to do more than that. And we're looking at purchasing on-site generation hypochlorous acid for that, and just our disinfectant in general. Pricing procedure and all of that, we haven't figured out yet, but we think COVID's going to be here for a long time. So we think it will be a good investment for the long run. Ready, Matt?
Yep, good to go. So we have 2 Victory sprayers that Tom was mentioning. That's one of the electrostatic ones you guys have seen. If you go to our website, I'm sure if you go to our commercial page, I think we are showing that we're getting ready to gear up for it. I mean, I'm building my marketing around it. I've done a photo shoot with it. I'm not seeing a lot of demand for it, but I'm also not really marketing it heavily yet either. So if you come up with a good plan, I would love to work with you on it, and I'll help you with some of the marketing aspects of it. But I have not found a way to effectively monetize spraying and fogging yet. One last quick point is you can buy some pretty cheap sprayers in the form of high volume or Wagner sprayers, low volume, high velocity sprayers that you can get for pretty cheap, and they have small enough particles to be considered for spraying. There you go.
You are ready, RJ?
Yes. Hey, Heather. For residential specifically, we don't do a lot of fogging or spraying. And ironically, about an hour ago, I was actually at a friend of mine's home. She had COVID, I think 30 days ago. So we went in with the Victory and the E-Mist, and we applied a 2-step. One is a disinfectant, one is a protectant for 90 days. And we applied those 2 with those 2 foggers. But it's not very popular amongst residential unless somebody was tested positive.
Very good. And I know you've got a long story you could tell about the commercial. I was invited to join a Facebook page today. So
good.
Starting to roll out your disinfecting service.
Yes. Yeah, on the commercial side, we've done over 1.2 million square feet so far.
with electrostatic sprayers?
Yes.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah. Oh, and she talked about pricing.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think you can safely say, depending on what you do, usually there's a 3-step process. You may have to clean first, because you want all the surfaces to be, sprayable. And then if you do the cleaning, disinfecting, and protecting, it's anywhere from 50 to 80 cents a square foot.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So you've done 1 million square feet at 80 cents a square feet? Wow. Good for
No,
you.
not at 80 cents. That was all obviously lower. We've done 250,000 square feet of a Class A office space. We've done 120,000 square feet for a 5-star resort. So, it's chunks, 500,000 square feet of a manufacturing plant.
Okay.
So
you're not going to get top dollar for that. They're going to expect you to just kind of come in and spray and go, basically. Like
right.
you're not going to do a 3-step process for that. They're just like, lay down some fog.
Well, yes and no, because for this one, we actually clean there 24/7, 365.
Okay.
So we're already doing the cleaning, so we're providing the fogging at a discount.
All right.
Leslie wants to know, and by the way, RJ, you are a guest host, so you get to go overtime. If I had done that, Liz would call me out.
She would have thrown the yellow flag for a penalty.
At least, if not a red card.
I was interested in learning more. I want a sideline conversation.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna indulge just for a second since we're going down that path. Do you think most of the people that are using your service are doing it because they are sincere about, making a healthier space, or are they doing it just to lower their liability and to cover their butt?
A bit of both, but more on the liability side of things. I just did a 5,000 square foot office today because the lady at the reception desk, her husband was tested positive 2 days ago. She went in yesterday or the day before. She was tested positive yesterday, so he shut down. And
the reason I asked the question is that affects the scope of work. If they want, the best outcomes, they're going to make a bigger investment and you're going to be doing more work. Whereas if they're just looking to cover their butt, it's like, give me the minimally viable product and smallest bill possible.
Right.
So do you know, we provide these stickers that go on the window, and also these tents that you can put throughout the office or space that shows people that you've actually done something. And some people just want those. And I'm like, I won't just hand that to you.
Give me the sticker, and
right.
Stickers, they can get their own stickers printed.
Correct, right? And so part of it is to appear psychologically, convince employees and patrons that you're doing it, but most of the people are very conscious of it. They're very serious about it. And because of the much unknown about this virus, no one's going to take a chance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good stuff.
Leslie has a question. In print advertising, which is working for her, do you use an offer? And if so, what has worked for you? I don't want to attract coupon clippers, not my target market, but I know, for example, they will work. Thoughts? Matt, you're up first.
Oh, good. Yeah.
In your wheelhouse, man. You ready?
Yeah. I have almost zero print spend any longer. So I don't have any relevant, like now in this moment of what's going on, offers or things like that would work. When we did do postcards, we tended to do large blasts of at least 5,000, and we would commit to sending to those people 5 or 6 times, and a 5th cleaning free or a 10th cleaning free, depending on how bad we were looking for customers, seemed to be pretty good offers. But then again, you're stuck basically giving 20% of your service away at the end of at the end of the 5th cleaning. But hopefully they stick on past that if you're doing a good enough job. So I found that to be a strong offer. It's just about consistency with print, and it has gotten very expensive compared to what I can get eyeballs for digital.
RJ?
So, hi, Leslie. If you know Carrie Knight, she's down in, I believe, Tampa, Florida. She always says, never discount your service, because our number one cost is, of course, labor and everything associated with labor. So one of the things she talks about is make offers. Offers like free refrigerator cleaning, oven cleaning, inside window cleaning, something that doesn't cost you so much, but it's a value to the customer. So discounting your service is not a good idea, per her. Make the right offers that work for your area.
We don't do a lot in print anymore. Kind of like Matt in that regard. We believe that the digital space is a better return. I saw this conversation come up today on Facebook, though, and we've spent a fair amount of time studying some of the franchise brands and what they do. And Cleaning Authority, they do a ton of print advertising. They actually own their own print house, so it's part of their franchisor profit stream. They have several calls to action all in one brochure. They give away, fifth cleaning free. They have a contest where win a free year's worth of house cleaning, and you just go online and give them your email address, and they give those away. They do several things at once. So if you get the Home Advisor, Cleaning Authority brochure, take a look at what they do. They know what they're doing in terms of print. Liz would have tore me up for that.
I was going to throw a red flag at you, Tom.
Don't tell her, RJ. Don't tell her.
Oh, she's going to be watching.
You think?
I hope not.
No, she's not. if she were watching, there would be something in
There'd be comments already.
Okay. Okay, Heather's got another question here. Predominantly female industry, what is the biggest issue that you've come across in your years of cleaning being a male? It's so rare to have an all-male panel. Just had to ask. Let's see who's up first this time.
RJ gets the honors.
Yeah, you ready
Wow.
for
Thanks, Heather. I agree. This is a very, according to ARCSI numbers, we are 65% female members and only 35%. So of the 35, the three of us are here. And that's just ironic. But anyway, I think the biggest issue that I've come across being a male is somebody actually asking me when I was going out and doing estimates, are you going to be cleaning? Or do you send mails? And that was just a big no-no. It was always, if you send ladies, that's fine. If you're going to do it, I'm not sure I want you here. So I don't know. Was that discrimination against the gender? I don't know. But that's the biggest challenge I've faced.
Okay. I had the luxury of not going first here, so I should have been able to come up with a more useful answer than what I have so far. But honestly, I can't think of any real issues that my gender has posed, and I've been doing this for probably over 20 years, going on 25. My wife has worked in the business as well for a number of those years. I mean, still does. So maybe that takes a little bit of the edge off of it, because if somebody's looking for the female representation, the assumption is that she's doing the heavy lifting, and I'm just here fixing the vacuum cleaners and making sure that the oil levels are right in the cars, maybe. But honestly, I don't think it's ever been an issue for me. Ready, Matt?
Yeah. So early on, I remember doing an interview, and my wife and I are there, and this woman is being interviewed, and it was funny because she's like openly flirting with me in front of my wife, and it was at that moment that I knew that we had to like really keep our roles pretty separate, and that there were some opportunities to that I needed to be careful and separate some of those things out. So my wife always did a lot of the HR and a lot of that stuff within the business. I still do it and I don't worry about it, but I've always been very cautious to never put myself in a position where I'm, alone with techs or doing anything that would ever, put myself in a position to, look bad or damage my reputation. I think we all have to be cautious of that. And in this day and age, so I've always been very cautious of that. That's one thing that I've had to be overly careful about.
Was that a red flag?
No, he was.
No? Okay.
I'm just thinking, I never had that problem, so I'm not sure.
Todd.
But we'll go with it.
I was even better looking in my 20s. No, I'm kidding. Oh, it's hard to buy that now, but yeah.
If somebody's flirting with you, how do you know it? Never mind.
They're reaching across the table, touching your arm in front of your wife, like during the interview. It's pretty. You don't know it, Tom?
That counts.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, that sort of thing, is in any industry is something to be cautious of. But I think a lot of people make mistakes in life, and one thing that I never wanted to make was a mistake like that, or give anyone the impression that there was any opportunity for getting ahead in our company through that sort of behavior. So, that's definitely a danger for any business. And in this day and age, I think, the best thing you can do is just be very respectful to people and be very kind. But just making sure to set clear boundaries is very important. And if there's other male business owners that want to chime in on the questions, I think that I can't be the only one that's ever experienced that. So I don't feel like overly cautious about it, but it is something I feel strongly about. Just
I don't know, Matt. You may have. I mean,
okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure.
Now I just do Zoom interviews. It just saves all that trouble. There's no in-person interviews. So coronavirus stopped all those fears.
Let's see. Leslie was, I guess, following up on the HR question. She's got a lawyer, ADP. They've got a lot of, the large payroll companies. They have resources, manual. It's more of the management, like writing people up. Do the SHRM. They've got actually a course with a certification. It's online. It's a little pricey, but we've put people through that before, and I think it definitely can make a difference. Leslie did a fogging job yesterday. You do need to clean first so it can be profitable. Right, that's for the fogging. Rosemary is a Carrie fan, loves Carrie. Rosemary actually is logged in as Rosemary today. A lot of times she's in as her husband.
Nope.
We're funny. Have our moments. Thank you. School teacher, got to be cautious. Yeah, I imagine that could have its challenges. Link to SHRM.
SHRM, yeah. I think that's what
I think I posted it earlier. It's shrm.org.
It's it's definitely a valuable resource. I put my HR manager through it, several different courses. So they're not cheap, but they're not unreasonably expensive either for the level of education and the resources that they give you. So I think that's a good investment.
I think the annual membership is somewhere between $200 and $300, if I remember. It's not crazy.
Yeah. And a class might be like $9.99 for like a 3-day seminar or something like that. I think that's, I don't think that's unreasonable for the level of education that they're giving.
Relative to what your labor attorney would charge you on an hour, it's a good investment.
Yes. So, we were just talking about this, and so I've been debating on whether to hire like someone with HR experience and this and that, and I just don't know that even my company is big enough to support that investment at this point. So,
And there are local chapters in your area that are SHRM based. So, Leslie, you might want to try to find one in your area.
yeah, that's usually who does the trainings. Like they'll have like a 3-day seminar that you can send somebody to, or a 2-day seminar. Yeah, usually a couple days to try and try and really pack in a lot of information.
Well, it looks like we might be out of questions, but that doesn't mean the party is over yet, because Joe Walsh just hit me up with the link to the article he was sharing with us earlier this week. When was Joe with us? Was that Tuesday?
Yep.
I'll put this in the Smart Business Moves resource page, but this appears to be the article where Fauci and 5 other experts say that the only people that they let into their home are their cleaning teams.
Okay, there you go.
So that's a pretty strong statement.
For your blogs, even shit might be in my email blast today. Might have to get that out there.
Do you do like a regular email blast promoting your blog to your customers?
I was doing more at some points. I've kind of, in the last month or so, I've kind of fallen off because there's just this shifting sand of information, and in St. Louis, we're kind of a growing hot spot. So I have held off because there's just so much information being just deluged at us every day here about different things, and just being really cautious to not get lost in the noise of that.
Don't know. Everybody here, I guess, is wired in with what we did yesterday with our deal day. If not, Wednesday, we will bring you up to speed. That yesterday was deal day. So we had deals from Advanced Vapor Technology, Jobber, Microfiber Wholesale, and Sponge Outlet. All of them are like unique deals that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. And these deals go away end of day tomorrow. If you want the particular details, you're going to have to go to yesterday's deal day and look at it, which is, on the same, Facebook page that you're watching us on, more than likely. And I dropped the link to yesterday's Facebook Live if you want to go back and take a look at that. Some good stuff there. Anybody?
Tom, I am surprised Marlo doesn't have a question today.
Yeah, that is out of character, actually.
Yes.
I wonder, maybe she's busy doing something else or something.
She must be distracted.
Yeah, she was here for a minute.
It happens. While we're waiting to see if we get any more questions, we'll just show you Cleaning Business Today. If you haven't subscribed, it's really easy. Just email address, first name, last name, and you'll get our newsletters, updates on new articles, breaking news in the industry. Here's our resource page. I'll drop that link. And you'll get Joe's article on Fauci and the experts saying that they only want their cleaning team in their house posted there. What is Marlo saying here?
Just enjoying the view, watching the show.
My, oh my. I've heard it been said that this show reminds some people of the View TV show. Maybe a lot of motion and not much movement. Who knows? Thank you, Marlo. Appreciate that. Well, we got 5 minutes, but we don't have any more questions. Anybody have anything?
I have a question to Matt.
Okay, let's do it.
So one of the clues yesterday that Tom provided regarding you was that, obviously I know you've turned into a great athlete, but you've turned vegetarian.
Yes.
All right, talk about that a bit.
Aren't you vegetarian, RJ?
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, just I'm not dogmatic about it, but so I tend to find that, nutrient wise, I get what I need from plant-based foods. And then, but if I'm out, someone's hosting a party, if there's not an option, I'm not dogmatic about it. I don't want to be, like the center of attention, like I can't eat this, it's not vegan or vegetarian or whatever. So, but I do try and, eat at home more, eat as much plant-based food as I can. And at first the transition was definitely, it was kind of scary because I remember the first day that I watched some documentary and I was like, I'm going to do this. I got to make some kind of change. I think I'm like 350 pounds at the time. I'm like, something's got to give. Like, I'm not living my best life anymore. Somehow I've let myself slide into this, whatever. So I watched this documentary and, you get some ideas in your head and some things stick, some things don't. So we went to Whole Foods the next day. My wife's pretty supportive. She's always been like a fit person. She's just like, whatever, she can eat whatever, like no problems for her. And she's on board. And we're like, what do you even do? Like, how do you even do this? So we go to Whole Foods and we're just like starving because like we don't have any idea. But over time, you just kind of like learn to cook and like figure out like a lot of good flavors come from vegetables. And you go to an Indian restaurant, like and I'm not sure how culturally you cook at your own home if there's but a lot of the best Indian dishes are vegetarian dishes using like eggplants, potatoes, and just really flavorful food. Maybe more oil than I would like to eat on an everyday basis, but lots of nutrition in the Indian diet. And then typically, filling up more on a rice staple or something like that. But you tend to eat less calories. You tend to get the nutrition you need. I think what I was finding was I was eating all this food, but I was starving for like the nutrition, the
flavor in food.
Well, just also the nutrients that are in plants. Like if you're eating a cheeseburger, I mean, how much we're all worried about protein, but how much protein do you need? How much other of these vitamins are you missing, right? And so I actually feel very much more nourished eating this way. And then if I crave something, if there's ever a time where I feel like I'm craving something, I need something, like fish is a good option or something like that. So it's mostly vegetarian, but I'm fairly flexible. I never want to put people out if they're like hosting or doing anything like that.
And that's pretty much how I am. And Leslie says curry. And, one of the things about Indian food, and people say, oh, it's spicy, it's hot. What people forget is spices are related to your health, because many of the spices like we have in our pantry are spices that are directly related to different parts of your health. And they're incorporated in the cooking process, and it adds so much flavor.
Yeah.
So it's not about how hot it is, unbearable or whatever. It's about the flavor of the food.
And my wife was not like a huge fan of Indian food when we started this process, but as she's learned to cook and like use some of the different spices and things like that, I mean, we cook our own Indian quite a bit and try and cut down the oils and make it a little bit like healthier than you'd get at a restaurant, because they're cooking to mainstream American taste. It's got to be pretty rich.
Exactly.
So I don't know if that's how it would be in India. I highly doubt it, because it's a lot of the Indian food in restaurants, like a dal dish or something like that, would be very rich, compared to probably how people would eat in a traditional meal. But yeah, I've found it to be, very sustainable and a very healthy way to eat. And if I want something, I'll have it. If somebody's, cooking steak, I'll have a bite or two. I mean, I'm not going to swallow, 16 ounces of T-bone. My stomach would probably rebel against that, but I'll have a taste and see what they cooked,
Agreed. No, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Took a lot of discipline, and I mean, you're a disciplined person, triathlete. I mean, that doesn't happen by accident. You gotta have a plan and wake up every morning and have the discipline to stick to it day after day after day.
I agree. And so what I did was I turned a lot of the time that I was getting up at 5 in the morning and working on business projects and turned it into getting up and doing something athletic. And I did reallocate some of my day to my health, but I personally believe that I get more done in shorter periods instead of just crunching in front of a computer for hours and hours till 2 in the morning and then being wiped out, and then, falling into bad patterns. It does set you on to a pretty good path of structure, and to fit everything you want to fit into a day, you have to build habits. So that's what it does. I mean, for me, the training and that I still enjoy because it's habit forming and because it's something that improves my life. Some days it's like, why am I doing this? There's no events this year or anything like that. But it's I think for the most part, it's a net positive, and it builds onto your life if you can find hobbies that are healthy and things that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be triathlon or CrossFit or any of that stuff. It can just be going on a walk every day with your wife or whatever, or your husband for most of you, since I'm speaking to probably a more female.
65%.
Right. It doesn't have to be extreme. It's just building healthy habits.
Yeah. In 2 hours, I'll be on the soccer pitch playing.
Yeah. You're a great soccer player. I love it. I've always admired that you've stuck with that all these years. So that's great. Yeah.
Well, we are at the top of the hour. We are at the end of the week. Matt, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
And RJ, for the entire week, you are awesome and a great help.
Absolutely. And Liz said she was going to send me a check, so I couldn't refuse.
Okay, well, if Liz said it, then I'm sure, just keep your eye on the mailbox.
Yep.
I'll do that.
All right. Good to see you, RJ. Good to see
you too, Matt.
Again, we'll be back here Monday. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to share what we're doing next week. RJ was supposed to remind me. I'm sorry.
I sent you an email.
You probably did. Real quick next week. Dave Murray is going to be with us. He's going to be talking about quality in the 19 world. Dave Murray is a principal at the Julius Group. They're a big marketing company and they're a consulting group, and they've got top-notch material. You want to hear what he has to say. John Braun, I've met John, know him. He used to be in the carpet cleaning business, but he does marketing and consulting work for a lot of carpet cleaning companies. You're going to get some unique perspective from him on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be Lisa Winter. She is basically the product manager for residential cleaning for Protein Vacuums. And if you don't know about Protein Vacuums, they've got a lot of special characteristics towards cleaning for health. It's going to be a general discussion about cleaning for health. It's not going to be about protein per se, but she's going to be good. We've got a special guest on Thursday, and if you come back Monday, I'll give you a hint for that.
Cool.
Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Again, Matt, thank you. RJ, many thanks. You guys.
Bye, everybody.
See you Monday. Bye-bye.